Iran has no intention to intervene directly in the current war because it's physically impossible for Iran. Pakistan sponsors these murderous terrorist jihadi movements like Lashkar-e-Taiba, Tehrik-e-Taliban in Pakistan. It's a different nature, no? But the principle is simple that everyone talks about jihadis and no one talks about ISA and Pakistan. I'm sure that Israel will continue the war because it is clear that every pause under these circumstances will only serve Hamas.
Hello and welcome. You're watching One India News. My name is Pankaj Mishra. The show is called The Whys and the Hows. And today we discuss why is it that Iran is taking keen interest in the Israeli-Hamas conflict. Secondly, how does it matter? And how do the dynamics change when Iran comes into picture? Remember, Houthi rebels have also uh, joined the brigade, joined the ranks with Hamas. So Hamas, Houthis, and Hezbollah, the three-edged headache for Benjamin Netanyahu. To discuss that further, it's my honor to have been joined by Captain Alexander Grinberg, former IDF Military Intelligence and Research Fellowship, Jerusalem Institute of Strategy and Security and Research Fellow, Maritime Policy and Strategy Research Center, also an expert on Iran in the IDF Military Intelligence Research Department. Captain Grinberg, thank you so much for speaking to One India News. Really appreciate your time in this testing and concerning period. First things first, in your learned opinion, Captain Grinberg, the entry of Houthis vis-a-vis the bigger role that Iran is playing, although it is saying that it is nowhere to be seen, how does this change the whole scenario in Middle East?
All right, thank you for having me. Well, it's first of all, we should know that Iran has no intention to intervene directly in the current war because it's physically impossible for Iran. But yes, ordering its all proxies in all the fronts, including Hezbollah on the north and the Houthis on the Red Sea, to escalate, Iran is realizing its doctrine of Mahvari Mu'alamat, the axis of resistance, and it may become a multi-front, multipolar war. It's not a regional war. I emphasize it's not a regional war, but it is a war with all the proxies. For as of now, what we see is already the participation of Hezbollah and of the Houthis, but it is rather, to the moment, it is rather symbolic, but it can change tomorrow after the speech of Nasrallah in Lebanon. They may escalate and to shoot much more missiles and drones on Israel's territory.
Right. Looking at the other players also, yes, you're right. Iran directly hasn't shown the interest physically. Also, geographically, it is not possible. But the proxies are doing their job. Looking at Arab League, looking at neighboring countries like Egypt, who under the I would say influence of United States complied and opened the Rafah crossing. Do you believe that Iran could have a hold on these Arab League nations in order to go against Israel?
I think it could not have a hold, a direct hold, if you were
Okay.
talking about that. So no, so it is between Egypt, America, and Israel. But of course, if we talk on a more general note, without any doubt, it is a part of Iran's strategy to destroy, if not Israel, which is impossible, but to destroy and to bring to barrel the process of normalization and Abraham Accords. So, of course, as of now, it is delayed. And
Mhm.
that is also, it serves Iran's interest, but Iran cannot impact it directly. Iran,
Right.
because it's impossible, yet Iran, of course, the mere fact of these proxies, they're also endangering the interests of the central Gulf states and all the other countries.
Captain Grinberg, we have known it for a long time that Iran has an axe to grind against the United States, be it the sanctions that were imposed on Iran as far as the nuclear arsenal was concerned, nuclear tests were concerned, or for that matter, on the religious lines also. In this bigger picture, where Israel is fighting for the legitimacy of its right to defend, and it is pushing back the terrorists and it is nullifying them. The role of United States, do you think it is helping the cause for Israel, or is it bringing more players into the fray?
Look, first of all, it serves from even talking literally because the American warships are able to intercept all the entirety of all the missiles that are shot from by Houthis, for example. And of course, it may help if Iran decides, if Iran through proxies decides to attack Israel and America. It's a big question that I have no response. Only tomorrow we will know whether Hezbollah and the others have enough wisdom not to attack American ship. I'm not
Mhm.
sure.
Right. So they won't be going for that particular. Yes, U.S. ships in the Mediterranean, obviously acting as a deterrent. Now, one aspect that has come out is the fact that the United States, as of now, which I think the Biden government is facing flack also within its own country, is asking for a pause in this conflict, in this aggression, in this self-defense that Israel has launched against the Hamas. Many are calling it, including UN, an act of war crime, attack on the camps, the refugee camps. So, how do you see when a superpower like United States is only asking for a pause but not ceasefire? Do you think that somehow this is a go-ahead for Israel to continue with its ground operations?
I'm sure that Israel will continue the war because it is clear that every pause under these circumstances will only serve Hamas. But again, this said, I don't really know, and no one really knows what does America really say, because President Biden said something in an answer to an interview. It doesn't mean this is American pressure or not. There are also
Hmm.
other considerations, such as may the US or Israel may portray something as the American pressure, or reason that in fact there is some advancement in the talks with Qatar, which
Hmm.
also helps terrorists. So that's
Right.
the truth. So it's very, very, very complicated. I don't have a unequivocal answer to this question. We don't really
Hmm.
know, but of course, everyone understands now that it is impossible to stop. And everything what you may forget about everything what they say today, if tomorrow's situation deteriorates.
Right. Indeed. I mean, lest it is forgotten, the messaging should at least be clear, which Israel, I think, Benjamin Netanyahu, under the leadership of the Prime Minister, is carrying out. One question that comes, to the fore, Captain Grinberg, is that as we speak, the number of death toll has crossed 9,000 in Gaza. Okay, we are not equating lives here. What happened on October 7th is equally condemnable, equally dastardly, shouldn't have happened in the first place. Where does this end, or how long does it continue?
Unless it will continue, unless the moment when Hamas decide to surrender. It's very, it's
Mhm.
very simple. There is no other issue of the situation. All the more that I say it again, you can see each time again. Also, the territories full identification of most of the big bulk of the Palestinian population with what happened yesterday. For example, you could see that an activist, Ahed Tamimi, a young girl who slapped an Israeli soldier, she wrote an appalling thing that we will do you something that Hitler's did will seem to you a joke. So we will. So sure, that's the thing. So it's very, from a simple human point of view, it's
Mhm.
rather hard to distinguish. And again, these are dangerous terrorists. They're not armies, and they're not terrorists in the sense that they're a gang with weapons. They use
Mhm.
their population as a human shield, and of course, any other possibility will only prolong this endless war. So everyone wants to put end to war. So either they surrender or
Right.
I just
get defeated. So basically, the ball is
and
in
also,
Hamas's court.
sorry, just the one when we talk about American pressure on what Bibi said or did not say,
Mhm.
one should never forget that the political situation in Israel is for the first time in all the years of Israel's existence such that there is Bibi has no way back. There's opportunity, and people
Mhm.
are ready for different walks of life, are ready to
Mhm.
any sacrifice, but to stop it and go to the end. It never happened
Fight,
beforehand.
fight to finish. Fight to finish is what even Prime
Yeah, because
Minister.
it's about it's not about ideology or territories. It's just about our children's future lives.
I couldn't agree more with you, Captain Greenwell, because the kind of atrocity, the kind of terrorist act that was committed on Israeli soil on October 7th, we also saw the same thing happening in Mumbai 2008.
Yeah.
And that shook the very conscience of the nation and brought the world together against terrorism and also the opposition parties. And I'm sure that Prime Minister Netanyahu, too, after initial voices of dissent, now the whole nation stands behind him. One final question for Benjamin Netanyahu as of now, Captain Greenwell. How easy or difficult it is to maneuver his ways to keep the casualties down, yet drive the message across and nullify and neutralize the terrorists?
I think, look, first of all, again, Bibi Netanyahu is rather, he's a riddle from many people. No one really knows what he thinks or what he. He's a person with highly sophisticated political skills, to put it
Mhm.
mildly. But again, today the situation is such that his usual way of achieving a deal or portraying as a great achievement simply won't work, and everyone understands what is needed. Yes, I can tell you simply that many reservists refuse to be exempted from the service if the job is not done. So I don't
Mhm.
know. So I really don't know. And I'm of course what you have mentioned just now is very important. I'm thankful. I'm always thankful for Indian media to who I have a honor to talk because
All right.
due to your fairness and not this anti-Israeli, anti-Semitic bias that I usually can meet in European
Mhm.
media. Of course, what you mentioned is very important because Mumbai terrorist attack is a precedent of a case where everyone sees how Pakistan
Yes.
sponsors these murderous terrorist jihadi movements like Lashkar-e-Taiba, Tehrik-e-Taliban in Pakistan. It's a different nature, no, but the principle is simple that everyone talks about jihadis and no one talks about ISA and Pakistan.
Absolutely. I mean, it is not necessary at all that the person or the nation which has been victimized, they should be expected every time to show generosity, at least in
Yeah,
such a case
yes.
of us, fighting for the sovereign right and protecting its nationals. One final message, Captain Grinberg, you would like to give to our viewers, especially to Iran. What is it that Iran might be reading wrong on the wall and should maybe amend its ways in time so that it does not conflagrate into a bigger situation?
Thank you very much for this question. Yes, I could even say that in Persian, but say in English. First of all,
Yeah. Mhm.
we in Israel, on all the levels, distinguish between the Iranian regime and the nation of Iran. Iran Bazarg, Melat Iran, the Iranian nations, where we don't have a war with the Iranian nation, but only with the Iranian regime. Second, we are not hysterical. We are calm and we are confident in the capacity of IDF to win once we decide to win. And Iran and Hezbollah and their proxies must understand that if they commit a stupid mistake tomorrow, they will be destroyed because no limitations will be on us or in the US. All again, so it's not the first war. We can win this war. There are still many weapons that Israel has not yet used, and it's only a beginning. And in general, every nation, no matter what it is, who adopts murderous ideology of aggression and hatred, it will end up with bringing a disaster and catastrophe on their nations. That's the message I think everyone must understand.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with you once again on the very context that Iran definitely needs to read the writing on the wall because, Captain Grinberg, as the time changes, as the time progresses, more and more countries are joining hands in order to stay and make it clear one thing that terrorism of any cost, at any cost, won't be tolerated. Captain Alexander Grinberg, thank you so much for speaking to us and sharing your views and inputs. So we really wish for peaceful times and safety and security of you, your family, your nation, and the countrymen in these times of crisis. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you for having me. Goodbye.
Subscribe to One India channel and never miss an update.